Hey guys, welcome back to the Made Men podcast. This is David Sloan, your host, and I'm with Adam Carroll, my co-host. Adam, how are we?
I'm all right. What's happening?
You're good, are you?
You're playing, yeah.
You're
Oh,
flying. That's great.
yeah. It's the first video now we did in 2 weeks, 2.5.
No,
We
about 2 weeks, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
about 2 weeks.
life can throw you some curveballs, and you just gotta duck and dive. You know what I mean?
You just got to get through it. Yeah, exactly. I suppose we've both been fairly busy. Well, you've been very busy the,
Uh, yeah,
these past weeks. Yeah,
I've been, as they say, up the walls.
up the walls. Such a Cork thing to say, but up
I've
the
been
wall.
up the walls lately.
Yeah,
Yeah, just yourself.
yeah, fairly busy, but we got some time there now, so
Yeah.
we've a good episode ahead.
Yeah, so let's give the all rundown on what we'll be discussing today. So, recently I watched Ben Francis, the CEO of Gymshark, the
Mhm.
founder, or no, ex-CEO, founder of Gymshark. I think he's head of product now.
Yeah.
Not that anyone cares, uh, only me. But um, and he did a fantastic video on things that he would tell himself if he was talking to himself right now, his younger self. So I think he was on about his 23-year-old self, and he's coming into 28 now, I think. Um,
Mm.
Now, that doesn't necessarily apply to us as much, but I was thinking, what would we tell ourselves if we could talk to our, 15, 16-year-old
Yeah,
self?
because like in the even the last year, 2 years, like I
It'll
think we've
change,
we've
definitely. Yeah,
changed a
yeah.
lot. Like, um,
Sure, I
yeah,
got glasses and all.
like like even since you went to Canada, so for those 2 years, or yeah, it was about 2 years, wasn't it? In those 2 years, you've changed so much. You know what I mean? And yeah, I definitely think I changed just from going from secondary into third level education. There, you just change. You know what I mean? You think of things
Mm.
differently, and definitely with the pandemic and stuff as well. I've definitely opened my eyes to a lot more things and kind of put a lot more things in my life into perspective. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
it would
like,
good episode like to
yeah, I,
talk
I
about.
agree. I agree. And like, I think I don't I like Ben, I think, put five things or three things. I don't want to necessarily put a number on it. I
No,
think you might have one thing, you might have 10 things, whatever. But I'll ask you first anyway. If you were sitting down right now
yeah,
talking to yourself when you were 15, 16, um, or 14, that kind of age, that
yeah,
age,
yeah.
what would you be telling them? And you
Uh,
can go on about as much as you want or as little as you want, whatever.
yeah. So when you texted me this, I thought this was like a very, very good idea because I was actually chatting to my mom about it like recently and stuff, like not like the other week we were just chatting about like what she would have done differently if she was to go back 10 or 20 years, like back when she was 20 or whatever. And I was thinking about myself, what would I do differently from the age saying I'm 15 to like 19 now, like which is 4 years, going on 5 now this year. But I think a big thing for me is stop putting people on like pedestals. You know what I mean? That was a huge one for me. I always thought like a lot of people were just better than me. You know,
That's an interesting one.
it is, yeah. And I'm not saying it's anyone's fault, but like you know, you
You
see,
didn't value yourself really as much as you should.
yeah, like I obviously fucking like love myself or whatever, like not in a narcissistic way, like, but I do care a lot about myself. So,
Yeah.
but when you comparing yourself to others, I always, you'd always think, oh, he's like better than me or she's better than me, or and it's definitely something I don't know why it was like a natural thing I just picked up over the years, but yeah, that's a huge one for me when you like boil it all down, like we're literally all the exact same, essentially,
Yeah. Yeah.
um like everyone's a bit weird, like you think is, you know I don't know someone very personally that they're any bit better than me, like everyone has their own kind of weird things and shit like they enjoy, and
Wait, so hold on there.
you know
Were were you putting people you knew like in
yeah.
class, or was it anybody at all who were older than you, like younger than you, or what?
yeah, it was definitely like, say now, sports related, sports oriented, like definitely sports would be a huge one. Like, you'd have the star boys in your year, or like your own team or whatever, and the praise they get for what they do on the field, like it equates to nearly off the field as well. Like they nearly get a bit more kind of leeway with like you know
In our
yourself, like
school, we
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
saw that.
And
Yeah,
like you'd take that on then and be like, oh shit, well, they're
you know the
clearly,
gap players. Come on, let's not
yeah,
beat around the bush here. Like
even
in our
soccer, like,
school,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
oh yeah,
they equated
exactly.
over as well. Yeah.
Yeah. In our school, it was just like there was two kind of mainly gab, but also kind of football sometimes with certain teachers that if you were just better at it, you just kind of had a bit more of a relationship or a better relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
That that's 100%. I 100% agree with that, and that's how you kind of look at it. Or yeah, I don't know why that was. Like, you'd always look at these people and you'd nearly treat them differently to, like, say now. I'm not saying I treat people like shit, but you nearly like, when, especially like in like from like first to third year or whatever, you definitely would be more of like you nearly kind of suck up more to the kind of athletes of the school, let's say. And not even just like them in school, but like people outside the school and stuff. Like you're
you
uh,
nearly yeah idolize them or whatever to a small extent.
yeah, yeah, exactly. You wouldn't kind of be you around them. You know what I mean? You kind of be like kind of more central about around them and how they are as people, and
Yeah,
it's just a weird one for me. I just always like I always thought, oh, he's better than me. Like, so
I
like
noticed that
in
with you.
me,
Yeah,
really, yeah,
yeah. Um, yeah, I did notice that with you, that with certain people in school, where you just be a lot more friendly or kind of out the gate, and like you are always friendly and stuff, but you know what I mean, where you could see like you were having a laugh with them and just kind of like laughing away with them.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's interesting now. Yeah,
yeah, I know you now haven't heard this, and like it's not like a
yeah,
bad thing. I think if you look at 99% of the people do that, I think especially when they're younger, they kind of look up to a certain person or type of person and would nearly be like, oh hi, like be my friend, kind of an attitude.
yeah.
No, I'm not saying that you were that
Yeah, no,
bad.
it was, yeah.
I'm not, but there's a people had a bit of hint of that. I think I definitely had it for a little bit from time to time. Um,
Yeah, just even like like people in like in general, like I say, even if you like look at girls, for example, like like a very pretty girl now or whatever,
yeah.
or
Oh,
pretty,
pretty,
let me just
lovely.
say, I better say woman, but but yeah, like you nearly treat them differently because they're
Mm.
either better looking than
Yeah,
majority
it's
of
like
other
it's you
girls or whatever.
automatically just are like, I need to um like prove to them why they should
Like me, or
like
yeah.
me or spend time with me or even recognize me at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that completely changed for me then, like as I obviously got older and matured and stuff, you kind of realize, yeah, okay, they're
You're the opposite now.
no, but I definitely think you should just treat everyone literally the same. I don't like I don't know why I had that in my mind, why you would. I think it's just a natural kind of instinct kind of a thing. But
It's human nature, really. I think you'd read about it a lot in psychologist
yeah,
books or literature, where like it's like almost like a protection kind of a thing.
uh,
Like who might look more higher up in the social hierarchy that's
yeah,
around.
yeah.
So you just automatically are like, oh, let's be nice and keep friendly.
Yeah,
Um,
I just don't know what came over me to, like, when I think about it now, like I'm just thinking, why did I think that way?
well,
To
it's not. I think like you could look at it and be like, oh, what are they doing? But like it's natural to a certain extent. Like you just, I think you're very good if you don't do it. I think as well. There's like levels to it. Like there's like you kind of at level one where you're just a little bit friendly, but then there's like completely going along with the
yeah,
crowd to fit
just
in,
licking
and
ass. Yeah,
yeah, and like then you're just changing yourself and not being yourself altogether. And there's like,
absolutely.
yeah, I don't think I was definitely not that bad.
No, I wouldn't say
You
that.
weren't that bad at all.
Yeah, But
like
we do know people who were like
we
that,
do know, like
put on
I'd
like a
say,
fake persona, and
I'd say
just
if you went into a classroom, I'd say 99% of the people in there are going to be
really,
like
yeah,
that to a certain extent. To a certain extent. By the way,
yeah.
I've got the Joey Diaz edibles on deck.
Oh, the end of it.
Psych, it's not, just before I get sued by
My
everyone.
dad got them from work there today. It's funny actually.
Why did I got them from work?
Oh, same thing. They must all got them for free. So all the big brands.
What's going on there?
What would be one of your first ones? So what attracted you to this idea and this question, and what was the first one that came straight to your head, or not even straight, like whatever?
Well, I thought it was an interesting thing, just kind of like a reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think sometimes, well, with me anyway, you get caught up in the future. I think a lot of people get caught up in the present, which is good. I think you should get caught up in the present. I need to kind of get caught up in the present a bit more. I'm constantly thinking like, oh, what's next? What's next? What's next?
Yeah, yeah, and that's fair enough with a business mind, like.
Yeah, but you also need to just kind of like
chill out,
relax.
Yeah.
But doing the opposite and kind of reflecting on things from the past and kind of coming to terms with them can be beneficial. Well, more than beneficial, really. It can change your perspective on things. It can help you learn
Absolutely.
things better. So yeah, that was the reason why I kind of was like, that's a good idea. Also seeing how different Ben Francis was when he was younger
to what he is now.
Yeah. Like with even from as far as a hairstyle to the car he drove and to how he carried himself as a whole, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like 23-year-old becoming a millionaire, you're buying an Audi or R8 or whatever.
The Audi R8, yeah, especially the year he came up.
And he nowadays, like, he just has unbelievable car, Range Rover, I'd say, but like it's completely different to a super sports car, like that's just flying around the place. But yeah, for me, one of the things would be, in a way, it's similar to yours actually.
Yeah.
I'm only thinking of that now.
Yeah.
It would be deciding who to take advice from and deciding what advice to take on board.
Yeah.
I think you, just because someone's older doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I think you should listen to everything, but you should take everything with a pinch of, or what's the saying, a grain of salt.
Grain of salt, yeah. Pinch of salt, same thing.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and I think like sometimes and I still do it now. When I'm in a new scenario, I nearly listen to everyone and just kind of do it, and then realize afterwards, you know what, that's not right. I'm doing it now in the business world of things, and I'm trying to stick to me and not do it as much. But I would just tell myself that when I was younger and be like, just trust your gut, kind of, and yeah, take advice on board, but pick and choose wisely, like.
Yeah, and it comes down to who you're getting the advice from as well. I think that's a huge thing. Who you can trust, and are they giving you this advice to better you, or is it to make a fool of you, or it's those depending on the person, really. That person then to you might mean a lot more than if they're giving you just the complete honesty.
Yeah, and like there's sayings as well. Now I'd also take these sayings with a grain of salt, but like if you want to become the greatest whatever of all time, why would you take advice from the average Joe Soap or whatever? Like it's kind of the same sort of thing. You kind of need to judge like who nearly qualifies to give good advice that you should take on board.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you, but
like I don't agree. I don't think.
I don't agree with that.
with the statement now, I don't agree fully. Where like just because you're not in that job or profession doesn't mean you can't give advice. But I think like too many people will just take advice from someone who's shouting from the sidelines and who doesn't have any idea of what it's like actually in
Yeah.
whatever it is, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, that would be one anyway.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because like especially for like the app you want to get out there and you're developing in that. I think it is good for like in your scenario to actually go to just the average person like in the sports industry or
Oh
in
no, that's different now. That's different. Yeah, that's like market research and stuff. I'm not on about
yeah
that. I'm on about like if I was to make a strategic company decision that like of a certain way of doing things.
all right
I'm
yeah
not going to take
got it,
advice
yeah.
from Mary who runs the shop down the road because she owns a business, you know, that kind of a way.
No, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
okay.
misinterpreted that.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I thought you
Um,
were on about in general. I was like,
no, I think like obviously if you're doing, you know, if you like if you're trying to exploit a market where the market is this type of person, obviously you're going to listen to that market and see what they want because they're the one giving you the money for what you're doing. But I'm not just on about in a business sense either. I'm on about um, like career choice.
yeah,
Like, why would you listen to a guidance teacher all the time when they're just sitting there, you know?
they haven't experienced that side
Yeah.
of the industry or whatever. Yeah,
Um, or a teacher who thinks this is best for you when, you know, sometimes why are they in that position to decide or
yeah,
think that, or yeah, it can come down to anything, even like football decisions or like what team to play for, whatever, you know, what to do in certain scenarios. It even comes down to that, like what to do on the pitch in this scenario.
yeah.
Like you just gotta come back to you and just be like, you know what, just gut feeling, go with it.
What feels natural to you, or
Yeah.
yeah. That kind of brings me on to another point I wanted to say there, and this is just having like belief in yourself. I know it's so like cringy, like
Oh, we're turning it off
cliche.
now.
But you know what I mean. I think a lot of people are very insecure, and I think it's okay to be insecure. Everyone has their insecurities and that, but I feel like everyone has to believe in themselves because if they don't believe in themselves, like it's one of those cringy
Right,
things to
right,
say, but
Rocky Balboa.
yeah, I know. Yeah, but
That's what winning is done.
it is one thing. Like that's one thing I definitely also said. Like I no. Sometimes I probably come off cocky now, but especially when I was younger, I
Ah,
just
you don't.
okay, good. But when I was younger
I
and stuff,
do.
like yeah, absolutely. You're narcissistic though. But for me, I always, I never thought I would be good enough for that, or
For what?
like in general, like with like
Pick
I
me an
give
example.
if I give you an example, whether that would be like hold on, like whether that's like sport or the gym or school. I give you an example in school, for example, like if I didn't get a good result now in a test in class that I studied an hour for or something, I'd say, oh well, this isn't for me. I'm not meant to do this, and that would just make me go, all right, well, I'm clearly a spanner here. Like, there's no point me doing this. When I'm like, that like you just think to yourself like um you know you just don't think really highly of yourself at that moment in time, like when but like if you think about it, everything takes a long process. I don't think anything ever just comes like that, it just and I didn't realize that when I was younger, that things take time in everything, like whether that's the gym or sport or uh, everything just has to come gradually. In certain cases they do come fast, obviously, but I'm on about like to the average person or whatever, everything kind of comes slowly. But if you just keep working at it, I suppose it'll work out in the end, kind of a thing.
Okay, so you're on about subjects in school.
Yeah, or even sport. Like saying if you're like you're playing on a B team and you want to go on to the A team, but you're just like, well, I won't be able for that or whatever, And I did think that way. And like the reasons I'd go and actually try for like an A team or whatever is because someone like my mom or something be like, no, Adam, you need to go up there. Like, I know what you're doing down here. You're only wasting your time down here or something, And you kind of do need that kind of sport, but that shouldn't happen. It should be you going, yeah, I deserve to be here or whatever.
But like sometimes not, you're never gonna have 100% motivation 100% of the time.
Yeah, I agree with that, but you should definitely always back yourself. You should always
When it
back
comes
yourself.
down to the crunch, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But I think it's okay to not have motivation certain times, but
yeah,
when it's more not motivation than motivation, then it's wrong. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. It's an odd one.
It should be like 80-20.
Yeah. I'd go with that. Like, I definitely think you yeah, eight or nine times out of 10,
Yeah,
you need to back yourself, because if you don't, like, it's just going to be a very, very tough time for you, as a
yeah.
person, I suppose. Um, and whether that be with anything like a job or whatever, you gotta just back yourself, I suppose. I didn't do it enough, you know, as a young fella. I wish I was a bit more ballsy in my decisions and stuff, but that's what you do. You live and you learn, don't you?
Decisions regarding what, the sports or school or...
Sports, schools, soccer, soccer, school,
Okay,
you name
it's,
it.
it's school. So, what decisions do you regret school-wise,
Um, what decisions do I regret?
where you didn't back yourself in whatever way?
Um, well, I know I should have definitely stayed in, like, I say I was in business and I changed to art because I wasn't doing well in the tests, and like I would go home and I try and learn it, and I just didn't fucking try.
That
And
fourth year, fifth year.
that I moved in start of fifth year. I got my appendix out, and then I went, and then I couldn't keep up, so I just I just got to stop there. It's a bit easier. Wasn't a bad call, but I mean, I'm not good at art. I wouldn't consider myself good at art, but for me, it was like, it was because I didn't have any belief that I would actually do well in the subject or whatever. You would actually go home and you'd actually try and study it or whatever, and it just didn't come to me, and I just like, well, I'm fucking shit at this, like, so I'll just go to
Well,
something a bit easier.
I also blame that down to the course.
Yeah, it could be like, I don't want to
A
make an excuse
mixture of
that it's the
things. A
course or
mixture
whatever.
of
Yeah,
things. Like I
I
think, I think, right. For me, knowing you, I think you're perfect for that kind of a business entrepreneurship mindset. Um,
thank you very
just
much.
just where you're interested in it. Never mind now if you're not. Well, you might, but I don't. It doesn't mean you're going to go off now and set up a $200 million company or whatever and sell it. I'm not
Mm,
saying that, but I mean that you might just have an interest in that kind of side of things where you're just
yeah,
like fascinated by it, or
yeah,
um, in whatever topic. And I think that interest that a lot of people would have is like stripped away when they go into a course, or when they go into well, definitely in secondary school anyway, when you're learning business studies, because it's just completely outdated and gives you the most like warped way of doing things ever. And I know people will say, "Oh, business is always changing," but like that's why you change the course and you keep up with the times.
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't just stick with a course that talks about Microsoft Word from 1995. Like,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, no, I get you, because I was quite good at business, back like first,
third
third year.
year.
It kind of came naturally to me, and it was like literally my favorite subject. And then, how can I go from my favorite subject to actually drop me because it was,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, on in a like to add to that there, failing was the thing I was so scared of. At anything, if you fail at something, you never do it again, kind of a thing. But I
Yeah,
think, like, failing genuinely
it's good.
is the one of the best things that could happen to you in order for you to excel in something. Did you ever think about that? Because, like, if you fail at something, that will firstly give you a wake up call to, all right, I need to firstly get myself in gear here, and to actually make a change in something, or either it's for you or if it's not for you. I think failing is a great way in order to get to success or something.
I think I think that's a very, very complicated topic. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and give an overview. But I think failing's okay, or failing's not okay. Failing's very good
In yeah,
in
in
small doses.
hmm
I think if you just leave it to this catastrophic failure, then I
yeah,
think that sometimes that can just be a bit overwhelming, and then you're nearly just like making things harder for yourself. However, you might learn from it and bounce back, but like just because you bounce back doesn't mean you should have had to bounce back that much in the first place. You could have maybe avoided as much of that
yeah,
as possible. So I think small failures along the way, like you messed up on these little things, for example, tests. Like,
yeah,
who cares if you failed 25 tests in a year if you've improved across the way, and it will be staggered. Like,
yeah,
um, the other thing I think is what people need to learn from other people's failures.
yeah. That's a huge thing. Learning from other people's mistakes.
Yeah, if you can be smart enough to cop onto that fast, you'll just it's like a cheat code, like in GTA where you just go
Yeah,
and yeah,
off in a jetpack.
yeah. So that's basically if you can cop that, then you can
That
fast
it's
forward.
it's funny you said that because my cousin watched the video we did about like the gym and stuff like that and about influencers, and you know the way we were kind of explaining about like kind of learning from our mistakes on who to watch and stuff, and he found that very beneficial. That you know we told like we were saying about like Greg Doucette and like Jeff Nippard and stuff like this
Yeah,
like these
yeah, yeah,
people who are genuinely informational, because if you look up a topic or something, you'll always get the worst people first for some reason. You know, you
yeah,
look up like the best exercise, whatever, Athlete Next would come up first, and I wouldn't agree with a lot like everything he'd say, let's just say.
yeah. He's a dope. I
Yeah.
sorry, what? I didn't mean to say that
Yeah,
out loud.
but yeah, I think learning from other people's mistakes is a huge thing. That is a great way of taking advantage of as well. Like if you ever look in like the TED Talks now that you enjoy, or any like um people like that in the lectures, I think the best parts of those are listening to their mistakes. I don't care about their success. It's interesting to hear about where they went wrong, because then you don't have to make those mistakes. You know.
Yeah, or how not even that, how they made successful decisions that were
Sorry, could you say that again? You cut out
did I
there.
cut out? Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think what's fascinating is if you can see how where they made successful decisions, but how they were successful even though a lot of other people around them failed at that point,
yeah,
if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like,
No, I
yeah,
get you.
they were successful, but like, why were they successful when other people didn't get that far or failed, or for whatever reason at that point? Was it like a sticking point?
Yeah, that's.
Like, I think
I think
actually,
that's.
you watched the Airbnb video.
Yeah, very good.
I
Um,
think
I definitely.
it's fascinating his story with all this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Selling Obama O's to fund the company.
Yeah, exactly. Just to fund it. Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
is.
Like
That is ridiculous.
in the middle of, didn't the Wall Street crash kind of, well, there wasn't that big of a
Mm-hmm.
Wall Street. That happened.
It was a crash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody was like, I'm not investing in anything. And then these lads come up with this idea where we're going to share a home with people, where you're in a kind of a modern society where people are like, I like my private home. I don't want anyone going near my home. And they're coming there and
Yeah.
all like, trust no, we just need like a couple million or
Yeah.
whatever they're gonna ask for. They got nothing. And for like 4 years, it was just constant like changing ideas, getting told no, slightly changing things, slightly updating things, relaunching.
Yeah, I was about to say that they relaunched so many times in
Yeah,
order
I think
to
what he
get a
said.
bit of publicity in that.
What he said. Oh yeah, who cares if you relaunch when nobody's even seen your first launch or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so just yeah, I think that's like a fantastic story that can apply to everything, not just business.
Even the way like just the name of it, air bed and breakfast, like it was meant to
Yeah,
be an air bed
yeah,
and
and
breakfast.
yeah.
And they were putting airbeds on top of mattresses just because
Yeah.
it was they put the name. But like that, like it's quite inspiring to hear how many things they literally got so wrong throughout the start of it
And
to
as
now.
well, another thing, I know you might know this much, but what I tell you is very fascinating, and he's probably one of the first, Brian Chesky, the CEO, was one of the first. He's one of the first kind of to do this, where like in like Airbnb are a tech company, like essentially, right? I know you can say they travel or whatever, but they make a website slash an app slash whatever.
Mhm.
It's a tech company. Tech companies are founded by tech people, right?
Yeah.
He didn't have a degree in technology. He didn't code. He didn't touch a line of code in his life.
Hmm.
He was a designer,
Yeah.
and that's going against the grain completely. When you look at any good startup at that time, now it's a bit different. But if you look at that time, it's always guys coming straight out of Harvard with a computer science degree, or like
Mhm.
Mark Zuckerberg, who just dropped out because he was in computer science, who just loved to code, um, coming up with great ideas, getting another couple of coders together, boom, done, millions. Yes, this guy had this completely different, where he was just friends with a designer who knew a guy who knew a guy, and he was a designer. And then like look at, go onto Airbnb right now, what's the first thing that kind of hits you? It's like the design is fantastic.
The layout
um
and stuff. Yeah.
the layout's simple, it's beautiful. Their branding, everything about that sort of aspect is like their strength, and that's down to him. And I think that that's a fascinating thing to see, that he was one of the kind of first to be in the tech zone that didn't even know how to code.
Yeah.
Uh, Kind of like
Um,
Steve Jobs was probably one of the first, kind of like that. But when you look at the majority of tech companies that are code based, you gotta have a coder.
yeah. Yeah. No, I get you.
Um,
Even going back to what you're saying there about learn from your mistakes, like completely nothing to do with me now or whatever, but like Tesla, for example, like they made a lot of mistakes in like the battery pack and like what size charge and how long distance for like the
yeah,
maintenance
yeah,
kilometer
yeah,
to keep for the best longevity of a battery. And do you know, like Neo, they're now the new Chinese car electric car company. They
look at
literally
you getting into your
they
cars.
they literally took everything from Tesla and literally took it and just made it a little bit better, or just started with their kind of baseline, which is such a smart idea. They're literally taking from the best, so they don't have to make the same mistakes they
Yeah,
made at the start. So they're saving billions and billions of dollars, literally. And but that just even stems back to us. You know what I mean? If we see you say now watching someone like Virgil van Dijk or Lindelof or Maguire, because they make a lot of
Lindelof.
mistakes. You can learn from that, and that's how you do essentially learn. Is I think I
Yeah,
learn a lot more from people's mistakes than anything. Like at the gym, for example, like for me, I made every mistake under the sun before I realized, oh, that actually doesn't work.
were
What am I
you
doing?
doing lap pull downs with the bars behind your head?
Of course, yeah, 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 like the proper Ernie. Saw Ernie do it in a video, so I just copied. But no, that's the thing. Like
Yeah,
it's
like
think of
with
people's
my
mistakes.
business right now, like I'm learning from, what business I'm surrounded by every day. You know,
Yeah,
I'm picking up nuggets of gold all the time.
yeah,
Um, and Twitter is like a gold mine of people in the tech world slash business world, just kind of putting up things, and you're just like, I'm just like soaking it in. Um,
yeah. That's the thing. You have these devices now, like Twitter and stuff, to help you not make some certain errors.
yeah, yeah,
You're obviously going to make errors and stuff, like
yeah.
everyone's
You
quite
all will,
inevitable.
yeah,
Like, but yeah,
limit them.
yeah, exactly. If the more you can limit, like the
Better
kind of
chance you'll be
yeah of
successful.
succeeding. Yeah, 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 exactly. Especially for tech companies as well, because there's how many, how many.
Yeah, and it's down to execution, and you can only execute well if you don't just mess everything up or mess lots of things up at that time. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very good. What else would you is there anything else that you would be like? you know what, 15-year-old Adam,
15-year-old Adam.
16.
I wish whatever kind of money I made, like I started working when I was 16, so I wish with that money, I still kind of have it because I don't really spend much, but I wish I spent more on shares and stuff when I was that age. I'm
That's
sorry,
because
like,
of me. That's because of me.
it's not. I swear, I was really watching America for I don't know how long before I started investing. I was such a little, like, I don't know why I cared so much about this money that I wouldn't spend anyway, because I'm just so like mean about things, like. So eventually I got into it, like going back a couple of months ago now, but I wish I just, just through, like, instead of like buying a McDonald's or something, just throwing a 10 around like a Ford share or something, just start building up that way.
You needed like someone from Stratton Oakmont to ring you up
Yeah.
and be like, listen here, Adam, you don't owe me, I don't owe you, but I'm about to be the top brokerage in my firm, and I'm not gonna get there by being wrong now, am I? You
Yeah,
needed that.
exactly. But I don't know why. So, especially if you think about it, I just wish I did it sooner rather than later. It's just because it's something.
Will we lock that deal in?
Yeah, we'll lock that in. Was it 4,000? We'll go with 8,000.
They said,
Oh,
sure, put it at 16. That sounds all right.
yeah.
My
But
wife's gonna kill me.
yeah, that's actually an iconic scene now. I swear everyone knows that scene. If they don't,
I
Wolf
love the
Wall
guy.
Street.
I love the when the guy he's like, I'm not gonna get there by being wrong, am I? Like,
Yeah.
he's laughing on the phone to him. Or when I was like, my name is Brian Jetski or Jetski or whatever his name is. Brian, I'm getting confused. The Chinese guy.
I literally can't remember. I know what the guy you're on about though.
Or Chester Ming. It's like Chester
Yeah.
Ming. My name's Chester Ming. Oh, what a
Yeah.
scene.
No, it's brilliant. So yeah, I
No,
would say
that's
that.
fair. That's fair.
Another huge thing as well that I wish I did sooner. Well, yeah, I just see I didn't have an. If I don't have an interest in something, you're obviously not going to do it. But reading or like even listening to more podcasts. I started listening to
Yeah.
podcasts when I was about 16, but it was only like clips and stuff, and it would just be the funny bits. But when you watch someone like Rogan or I watched a lot of Gad Sad. I showed you before he's like a
Yeah.
marketing psychology fella.
Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian
Come on.
Lebanon Canadian,
Lebanese
yeah,
Canadian.
yeah,
Yeah,
Lebanese
Jesus.
Canadian, yeah.
Imagine I called you British.
But yeah, I think I wish I got into
Now,
reading
hold
more.
on a second now.
What?
You're falling down the trap that I think people shouldn't fall down on.
What's the trap?
I think like you need the room, as you said, mistakes slash room to mature and grow. Like like you wouldn't have gotten the value out of listening to an educational podcast at 14 that you would have gotten the value out of it when you're 17, 18.
I
So
don't, I don't know. I see you say that, but why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I take it
because
in?
I think sometimes like you're at the different points in your life where you're like in a different kind of a different zone, like it's like the
Maybe, yeah,
zones, and I think that like there you just go through certain zones, and now certain people will go through zones earlier, but I already think if you're listening to podcasts at 17, 16, you're in a fairly early stage of listening to podcasts.
do you
Like,
think so?
yeah, 100%. There's people that are 25 that haven't even started listening to podcasts, and then they decided and they're like, oh, it changed my life. And it's like, yeah, bud, there's been people doing
Yeah,
that since they're 16.
yeah,
um
maybe so. Yeah, but it's just something.
but just don't be too harsh on like
Yeah,
all the
no,
regrets of like not doing this and
no, I
trying
wouldn't say it's
to
a regret.
trying to like perfect the things that you know now of like your personality, where I think that you need sometimes to just understand that like there's a pathway, like with my like if that's like me with my business, it's like, oh, I could be like, oh, why didn't I do it sooner, or why didn't I do that earlier,
Well,
like.
that's because it's an idea. It's different to I
Yeah, but
suppose, a
like
hobby.
I could have went out and tried to find an idea and kind of
Yeah,
failed a lot. When I didn't, I
that's
wanted to
fair.
wait and kind of like I had an interest, but I let it grow and evolve, and then the idea came when I had that
Yeah,
interest, and it just met perfectly. And I think it should be like that with a lot of things. such as interests in books or podcasts or hobbies, where like you just leave it happen naturally where you're going at whatever stage you're at.
Yeah, no, yeah. I suppose since you're saying that, it's like I was just thinking me at 15 listening to a podcast about the evolutionary
I would have bullied
psychology.
you. I would have
Yeah,
bullied
you
you.
would have. Well, it's yeah. I suppose you got a point there. But yeah, I
But I
just
know what you're
think
saying.
you know,
I know
in
what you're saying.
hindsight, you wish you
Yeah.
would listen to it a bit earlier because yeah,
And with the stocks as well, like it's like the same as it's like that gambling addiction of, oh, why didn't I hold and sell higher, or like why didn't I wait and sell my company for more money, like the Zoom guy, you know, the guy who
yeah,
made
yeah,
Zoom.
yeah.
Yeah, like it's the same idea. Why didn't I sell, like just like you have, just accept it and move on. And
Yeah. The reason I said that was because it would just been cool to have like 3 or 4 years more experience doing like the stock exchange, like learn
yeah,
about it
yeah,
a
I
bit
do
earlier.
think that
You
that's
know?
good, but again, you're 18, 19 learning about stocks, like
Yeah.
go back to the 90s, who was learning about
Yeah.
stocks back then, who were 18, 19?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
um
It is cool though. It is a I don't know why they don't actually tell you more about like stock and stuff like that in school.
yeah,
Like
I've
I call
no idea why they don't.
I know it's because it's not even like betting. Like there's like obviously
Well,
similarities. There is similarities, but like if you're investing into a company like Apple or something, like $1 billion company, what's
there's
the
a
chance
yeah.
of them failing? You know what I mean? They have so much security around them. Like it's not just going to fall in the morning.
Yeah, unless it's Wall Street crash, but that's again
Yeah,
a
you know,
rare thing.
a rare
um
occasion. Yeah.
no, I think they should definitely be teaching things in school about stocks trading and all that, but I do think that, you know, if you're teaching the average Joe Soap about throwing money at a company
But I
hoping
think I
that
would
it goes
consider
up.
myself an average Joe soap, though. You know, I would genuinely think. You know,
I wouldn't.
really. Thank you.
You're smarter than the average Joe Soap.
I,
If you're listening to podcasts and listen to your man, what's his name?
Gad said.
Yeah, if you listen to Gad's
Yeah,
dad, you're not the average Joe Soap.
maybe so. Or else it's just my interest. You know, like people have different interests in different things. Like,
Yeah,
it's
but
just,
I doubt the average Joe Soap is interested in the Canadian
yeah.
and Lebanese
I'm
psychologists
just
and
being
vampires.
critical of myself.
But
That's
yeah, I know, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
one thing. Well, if I make an allowance so for the stock market and for not listening to podcasts, reading, even if it was anything, I
Yeah,
like
okay.
an
Yeah,
autobiography. I wish
I
I
understand that.
I don't know why I didn't. I suppose as I said, I didn't really have an interest. But the more you do read, you always, even if it's not a biography, you'll always just learn something. No, isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't it so true?
I think reading, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it.
Reading, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, depends on what you're reading. And that you know.
I just find personally reading can get quite tedious. So
TV, yeah.
I like listening.
All the books, yeah.
So I want to get into the audiobook game, but then again, I
Yeah.
like having a physical book too.
Ju-
So I'm caught in this middle, which is probably why I should set up a company of how to scan your book and get the audio book and pay for it at the same time.
Oh, I was saying something about that. I think there's something out there like that. I was looking up.
There probably is, which is why I haven't done it. And like, what, I can't go to the market and say ours is better. Like, it's the
Yeah,
same tool.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and as well, I think sometimes books, they just are like, they'll repeat and like a lot, like they'll go on and on and on the same thing that they could have just compressed into this like shortened page
Yeah.
instead of this 24 paged version, just because they want, you know, the bigger book and the more, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I get you. It's see, it depends really on what you read as well. I feel you could go down
Yeah,
a
there's
very
some books that are very good.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
no doubt about that.
yeah.
As well, there's actually a great website that I saw. It gives you summaries of books.
Oh,
Like,
really?
you sign up and you like pay, like, I don't know, it is like $5 a month or something, and you just literally search up any book in the world and just read the summary. And the summary
Just a
now,
synopsis of it, yeah.
but the summary is like, you know, still like a 30-page summary. It's not like some like, it's just a smaller book that explains everything in just the easier way, like, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually funny to think about reading though, because apart from like now in my life, the last time I read a book like to completion, I don't even want to say it. I'm embarrassed to say it. I was probably about not even first year, maybe
Kill a
fifth class
Mockingbird.
for yeah. Well, I didn't even finish that funny story. I never finished that book
Uh,
because the days you miss school or whatever, you're not going to go back and read page 132 to 156.
Here, listen to this, right?
Yeah,
I was in English in Canada and I was supposed to read.
of mice and men,
Oh no,
lady.
what was the one where they're stuck on the island?
What?
They're stuck on an island and
You're asking me. I haven't read a book since 12 since I was 12.
I'm gonna get this up because it will be annoying me. Um,
Yeah,
famous book stuck
but
on an island. Kids should come up now. Lord of the Flies.
okay.
Lord
I've
of the
never
Flies.
read it or anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, it's a Nobel Prize winning book anyway. But I guess you
Okay.
are the average Joe. So,
I
but
am.
yeah. So basically, I was supposed to read that, and I was like, I'm not reading that. And what I did was I found the audiobook on like SoundCloud, and everywhere I went, I would listen to the audiobook, and I just stuck in the whole thing, and I
So
walk.
much more convenient.
Yeah, I'd walk into class and ace in the test because I just listened to the books in the hall
Yeah,
instead of reading it.
that is
Yeah,
actually very very intelligent. Get your school book on
yeah,
Audible.
I
That is
just
very smart. I didn't think about that at all. Feck, I
I'm
wish
not
I
the
thought
average
that.
Joe. So
No, yeah, uh, yeah. No, that's actually a very good way of looking at it.
as Bill Gates said, hire the lazy people because they'll always find a quicker way of doing things.
Yeah, yeah. We spoke about that. You actually changed my opinion on that. About that saying.
What did I say again?
You were just saying that he wasn't literally calling them lazy. He
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, you made it very quick. Yeah, because I was just looking at it quite head on, but you made it obviously, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot more, yeah, more to it than actually what means.
A
Yeah,
lot more of that. Like,
yeah.
here,
But
let's explain it because people are going to be like, oh, what was that about? So
yeah,
basically,
Bill Gates.
my Bill Gates was like, oh yeah, hire lazy people to solve a problem quicker. But my point was,
You were saying that I would, and I actually agree with that because you were saying you consider yourself not a lazy person, but you'd rather a quicker way of doing it than just to actually
it's
sit
yeah,
down with
it's like a productivity kind of a thing, or like
yeah,
inefficiency kind of a thing, where like you would
make it more
rather,
efficient. Yeah,
yeah, you would rather get something done quicker and like at the either better or the same faster,
yeah, yeah,
and so that I can do more quicker and I can do more and build more and get better and progress. Because progression then is what people care about. Because lazy people, they don't care about progression. What they'll do is they'll watch Netflix for 12 hours and do nothing for the entire day. And that's lazy. But lazy isn't that because it like Bill Gates is lazy, isn't that because they're just trying to progress and get better, but they're not going to spend 6 hours doing something where they could have done it in two.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Because you made me think of my dad in a situation like that because my dad will try, he will do anything to make it just that bit easier. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah. So
like I've been look. I think that's an entrepreneurship thing.
yeah, no, yeah,
Like I saw today, there's a product called Loom.
right.
Actually, all the bodybuilders slash coaches use it. Like Greg Doucette probably uses it. Gary Pineda uses it. And what you do basically is like they use it for check-ins. So like
Mm,
it's like a quick screen recording and video of yourself talking, running through whatever's on your screen. So what I will use it for, I don't want to create a meeting all the time for whatever. So why don't I just quickly this is what I wanted to talk about quickly. This is what I'm referring to on my screen. Run through it. Blah blah blah. 5 minutes.
and
Bang.
just send it on.
Send it on.
Very good. Yeah,
So if
yeah,
like a
yeah.
quick video, then they'll watch it and they'll send one back to you, and it's almost like this video chat that isn't a call. Now, obviously, sometimes calls are just necessary, and that's fine. But these are for like just the quicker
No,
time.
that
So
that is quite smart because it saves the
yeah,
tedious of setting up either a Skype or a Zoom or whatever call you're
exactly.
making.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I need to click a Zoom link there. And like even in Slack, what I use in Slack, I've got Zoom hooked up to it, but instead of me now going into Zoom, creating a link, copying the link, going into Slack, sharing the link, what I do in Slack is forward Zoom, enter, and it just creates a little Zoom meeting in there with a random code and a random whatever, and you just hit start and you just straight into it.
Damn.
So it's just way quicker and faster. And
That's quite convenient. Yeah, yeah. No, you always been good for finding those apps like to make things a bit more productive. I'm so old school. Like, I just have a diary. I literally have a diary.
I think that can be good though too.
Yeah, I kind of
Too.
yeah, because I feel like if I write on my phone, it's just so easy just to tap in, just forget about. But like,
I'm
I
trying now
physically write
with
down
the
school stuff in your school schedule and everything.
like calls, marketing calls, investors, school stuff, maths, study maths, therapies, podcast.
Yeah, you just try and make your day. You plan out your day a bit better. Yeah.
What is that? Oh no. Why do I have a call tomorrow at 10 to 10:15? I can't make that call. Like they didn't. I sent an email saying I'd like to have a call there. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, here's the call. 10 o'clock tomorrow. Like I can't do that.
10
Oh
o'clock late.
no, 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm in
Oh, in the
school.
morning. Oh, well, you could ask one of the teachers, I suppose. But no, we're going off topic here. But
Yeah.
for you anyway, Dave, what would you say is another thing you wish you told yourself when you were a bit younger? Because I can't say when you were young because we're only 19 or whatever. Yeah.
Um. Like I know it's kind of the same as you with the whole kind of trust your own instinct or
Yeah, you're
head.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, trust your gut a bit more, um, and just get kind of more like content with that, or like accept that, if that makes sense. Because sometimes it can be different to everyone else's, and then you get a bit insecure or worry about it or whatever.
Yeah. 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 I get you. Yeah, I feel I think a lot of that kind of ties into as well on how you like how people care about what others kind of are thinking and that of you and whatever. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's a weird one. I feel I know, whatever, it's a natural thing that people do talk about you, whether that's positive or negative. It's just weird the way like the negative stuff would stick to some. It doesn't really
And you
affect
nearly hear the negative first.
yeah, yeah, exactly, like whether starting this or whatever. I know there's been whatever criticism or whatever, but like I don't it's I'm pretty chill about it. Like I'm doing what I enjoy, so I mean who's gonna stop me for enjoying it? Like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that was a huge thing actually since I said it when we were younger, and that like it's just caring so much what others. I don't know. I didn't see it in you in first year much, but in I suppose because see, for me, I always was quite quiet and shy, so I wouldn't say much because again I cared what people thought. But I remember seeing you when you came into school and that. And I'm not saying you were fucking weird or anything, but like you kind of stood out a bit more. You. The thing is, I remember you so well. The way you presented yourself and stuff, like you were neat, and I don't know, you kind of stuck out more because you came across very quite intelligent and stuff. Like if you actually think about it and stuff. I remember like there was times in school like where you got a bad ordeal with people and whatever, and I feel like that fucking kills you, and I never got like that. And I think that in my opinion has sculpted you even to really not give a flying flute
Yeah,
what
yeah.
people think. Like that's a huge thing, and I remember you caring so much about like even small. You still do care about the small things and that, but when you were younger, I remember like there was a test or whatever, and you didn't get the result you were hoping for. And I remember you were genuinely devastated over. I hope you're okay with me talking about this,
No,
like
yeah,
yeah,
whatever.
I'm not trying to,
No,
you know,
whatever.
If you want to cut out whatever, but yeah, like I remember you getting something you weren't happy with, and like I remember, hello,
I'm still here. 2 seconds. Two
I,
seconds. Keep going. Yeah.
and I just remember like I just remember you not being happy, and I remember a couple of people fucking find that hilarious and whatever, and I just if I was put through that, I think the way you overcame that, and the way you kind of are about things now, and the way you genuinely are quite bulletproof if someone said something is quite remarkable. I think if someone experienced like even a small bit of that, they would definitely build some kind of courage to do what, like literally not care what anyone thought. And I felt like for you to go through that at such a young age, because you were like me, you were quite naive, quite
Yeah.
naive young person, and you weren't afraid to express yourself, um, with your creative side and your kind of technology kind of side of things. And thinking about it like that is crazy that you kind of have to suppress that, and
Definitely.
yeah, no, I saw it like from you first year to second year, you were like different, and then from when you left and came back, you just came back like from a literal boy to a man, like you really just accepted everything and just kind of
Yeah.
just became you, like literally just did you. um yeah,
Yeah. I think it came from the whole coming back thing with being more me is just a bit more of with Canada being more of it was more of an accepting
culture.
experience and
Oh
culture.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So because of that, I became more acceptance of me, but also at the perfect time where you're getting more mature and realizing to like that you should.
yeah,
So it was just then a combination of that. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because even from watching that, like it made me think like a lot more, um of like if I was back in a position like that, and I know I was only 13 or whatever, and you just kind of want to fit in and get along, but like for now on, if I was to ever see someone that was in a position of bother by another person, like you would step in. And I even learned from just watching that. And yeah, I'm sorry I brought this up, or I don't know if it's
No,
good or
no,
not
I
to bring
don't.
this up,
No,
but
I don't care.
it just came to me like in a I feel like it's something like I was just giving you a compliment on how you.
No, you can talk about anything.
Yeah, uh,
I'm an open book.
yeah, and I just admire the way you were. I can see you, and the way you don't care what others think. And I definitely learned, like, took that from you as well. To why should I really be bothered by another
Yeah,
person's opinion on me? Just words at the end of the day. But yeah,
exactly. Or what's that? There's some saying.
sticks and stones may break my bones, or words never hurt me. What are you gonna
Exactly.
say? Is
No,
that it?
that was the one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
no, I agree with you 100%.
yeah.
100,000,000%.
And especially with like the way kind of times are going now, I know if we were to go back into first year and whatever, like in nowadays, I don't even think that would even happen now. You know what I mean? With the amount of kind of like guidance and stuff like that kind of wasn't really. There was guidance classes and whatever, but like when you're that
No,
age and
but
stuff,
they weren't
it's
that.
not taken seriously.
No, not at all.
And I don't know whether you went in or whatever about whatever, but to if that was happening now, it would be a different circumstance. But maybe for you that help you really fucking just build that thick layer of just being bulletproof. Like I think I
Yeah,
said bulletproof so many times now, but just and that's
it's not a
that's
bad, it's not a bad compliment.
yeah. But what did you think about that time and stuff? Did you feel you had to just completely either not even suppress, but like to change in how you were in school and that?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I not at the start. Like I was like naive, like where I just you people would say stuff and then you think like oh it would go away or whatever, and
yeah,
then it wouldn't, and then you just start to then stop saying things or stop looking or stop being interested in certain things or stop showing your interest in certain things and stop expressing yourself in a certain way, and you just kind of curl up and kind of push yourself away from
Yeah.
the thing, um, as like a defense mechanism, like where you're just like get out of the situation to stop it,
Yeah.
but you couldn't really get out of the situation. Um, yeah, it was tough.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, we never really properly spoke about this because it's so long ago, and like
yeah,
I can't even remember much of it. I just remember how I just remember seeing you and stuff, and I do remember like certain occasions and that. But yeah,
no, like it was tough when you had like it's fine when there's like one person
yeah,
or
yeah,
two people and like you'll handle that because there's 25 others that aren't or they're there or
yeah,
whatever. But when you're at that age and everybody is so worried about not being me in
yeah,
that, it's like they'll automatically just pick that side so that they're safe. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And then it just turns to 25v1 when things happen,
yeah,
which was tough. Like it was
yeah.
like a complete isolation kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and it's the fact that it was first year as well, and I feel it was easier just to even no accept it
Yeah,
was
it's
wrong,
the
but to
easy
just
way out. And like I used to like really, like not blame, but like I'd wonder why wouldn't someone stand up or why wouldn't
yeah,
someone. But then again, when you're looking at the scenario of like 12 and 13-year-olds, like I couldn't expect that to happen.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I don't know. Um, I think it would be very hard for someone to do that, to like stand up for someone at that age. But even if it like as the years go on, and like in like even fifth year, sixth year, I couldn't see that happening where the whole like class or whatever
No,
is.
no, I don't think as you get older, I don't think it happens.
Yeah,
And I think I was unlucky. I don't think every class has had that or every school or whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
It
I
was
was
just
just
that moment in time.
unlucky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But it as I said, it definitely put a fucking a layer on you. You know what I mean? That you
yeah,
could you could go into a room now and people could take the piss out, and you'd be able to walk out there and go, well, we go for a 4-1 or something, like, go for a chippy. But
or
like
no,
I
you're
could,
right. You're right.
and that like it's not a good thing for it to happen to someone, but I think for you it just helps you even just excel like as a person, like
Yeah, like you just gotta kind of
the switch.
flip it on its head,
You call
like
it flip answer. Yeah.
take the positive out of it. Um, so
Yeah.
like, and I read something today. I think it was like I know now business related again. Oh my god! But this applies to everything. I do think, and it was like the most successful entrepreneurs. But I do think this applies to more successful in general. Like are able to kind of flip the negative experience and like
Yeah.
take stuff out of it and learn from it. When
Yeah.
they were like hard done by or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I think you definitely took literally the positives out of it, as much as in that moment in time it was shit or whatever. You just kind of came out the other end like a fucking Donny. To be fair, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to toot your own horn or whatever, but
No,
it's
no,
it's
no.
true. If you actually do look back on things, and um yeah, it's I think that's all I had to say. Yeah, I don't know why that came to my head, but it just, I
No,
suppose,
it's good. It's good to talk about it.
yeah.
Um,
And I know a lot of our buddies who listen to this and that um would agree with what I'm saying here about you just not kind of caring, what, if someone was to say something to you, and
yeah,
even from, as I said, watching you and stuff, like I've definitely taken from that, like I feel I could handle someone, someone's, negativity if it came on me now. And yeah, no, it's quite inspiring. Yeah, inspiring. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There you go, Nadia.
if I'm inspiring you, there's something wrong, Adam.
Yeah, there's something definitely wrong. What am I doing? Oh, lockdown is getting to me. But yeah,
No.
that's I think I said all of the kind of
Yeah,
points.
I'd say that's a wrap, Adam.
I'd say.
That was a fantastic episode.
Yeah.
I will see you guys in the next one.